I guess we can now add Faizon Love into the bedbuckkken Hall of Shame, because he has now become the latest person who has had some very disparaging things to say when it pertains to black people and them getting reparations. Now, I just recently had to go in about Tucker Carlson and what he recently said, but I'm not surprised at what Tucker Carlson said, because that's all he knows how to do when it pertains to us. But now we got this individual who has to throw his 2 cents, I guess if you want to call it that, into the situation, and then use some of the most stereotypical talking points that PC loves to use when it comes to black people and money. So I'm reading this from the Daily Mail, and the title literally reads this: Black actor. They didn't even have enough respect for Faizon Love to put his name in the title. They called him Black Actor. Blast $223,000 reparation payments suggested by California Commission. Says cash will go right back to Cadillac and Mercedes-Benz. They didn't even have enough decency or respect for this man to even put his name in it. But at this point, just off of that strength of reading that alone, I could care less. The article goes on to say, actor Faizon Love has lashed out at the notion that black people in California will be given $223,000 in reparations, saying that the money will only be used to purchase luxury cars. My thing is this: if they buy luxury cars with their money, so what? This is how you know black people are the most pocket-watched people in not only America, but probably across the globe, and not only just from people in America, but from people around the world, and not just from outsiders, but those from within as well. This is what I call a co-colonizing cohort. Love, age 54, made the eye-opening response in an interview with YouTube channel Vlad TV, of all people, of course, as the debate over reparations for slavery in the Golden State continues. The Meteor Man star said, F that. The fact they had to reach all the way back to Meteor Man just shows you how lackluster his career has been over the years, because look at how long ago that movie came out. But he says, F that. That's another trick, man, because that money is going to go right back to Cadillac and right back to Mercedes-Benz. Now, pay attention to the cars that he chose to mention, especially Cadillac. That's a car that they love to attribute to black people, especially back in the day. Back in the day, if you was a black person, you owned a Cadillac, that means you made it. That means you somehow have arrived. But look at the tropes and the stereotypes that he used. Now, this is coming from a black man saying this. Let me continue. The chair of the task force handling the reparations issue, Camila V. Moore, said in an interview Tuesday that the $223,000 figure being reported was not simply the amount of money that would be handed out, but represented the state of California's maximum culpability per person. She also criticized the fact that reparations only apply to any persons who face housing discrimination between 1933 to 1972 and not just black people. In his interview, Love went on to offer an alternative to monetary reparations, suggesting that black people should be tax exempt for life. Now, keep in mind, it doesn't say black Americans, it says black people. And look at what he says, tax exempt. They try to do everything except pay us what is actually owed to us. Now, pay attention to this next line. The Cuban-born actor referred to slaves being treated as tax write-offs during the Civil War. Cuban-born? So that means that Faizon Love is an FBA. I'm going to be honest, I didn't know that he was part Cuban. I didn't even know he was born in Cuba. This is my first time learning this. Did anyone else know that? He also brought up the fact that the federal income tax was initiated by the U.S. government in order to pay for the Civil War. The financial requirements of the war saw Congress place a flat 3% tax on all incomes over $800. Following the end of the war, the original law was repealed and not formally replaced until the 1913 Federal Income Tax Act. Love is known for his controversial remarks in 2014 and 2015. He was criticized for his wide-ranging support of Bill Cosby in the wake of the dozens of sexual assault allegations levied at the elderly comedian. In one tweet, Love referred to black people who believe the accusations as spineless monkeys. During this week's public hearings on reparations in Oakland City Hall, the notion of tax-exempt status was brought up. Carol Williams said that she lived through homelessness since moving to the Golden State in 1985 from Memphis and stated her belief that all reparations should be tax-free. She said, "I consider myself a foundational Black American. The reparations should be tax-free so that when we get the money, the IRS won't come after us. And I'm pleading and I'm asking that when we make the decision of lineage, we save those who have been in California since 2000. I'm trying to see if there's anything else in here as well pertaining to whatever nonsense he has said. But it seems to me like it probably ends right there, because now it's going into some other stuff that's kind of off of the topic of what I wanted to discuss when it came more specifically to him. But yeah, that's a trash take coming from Faizon Love. And it's like borderline scary at this point, the amount of people that's against this. And I'm more so talking to people that identify as Black. But I did not know that this man was born in Cuba. That's news to me. Now, I hate to have to do it, but I had to do it for the sake of this video, since everyone wants to pocket watch us and try to tell us what we should and should not be receiving. I decided, let me go ahead and look up Faizon Love's net worth. And sure enough, this man was born in Cuba. He was born in a place called Santiago de Cuba. I don't know if it's Santiago, Cuba, or Santiago de Cuba, Cuba. But he wasn't born here. So now it makes sense. But look at his net worth. This is a man who has had a career since 1992, with his first major role being Bebe's Kids. If y'all remember that movie Bebe's Kids, which many of us are already familiar with. And he only has $8 million as a complete net worth. This man isn't even in the double digits. And he's going to sit up here and try to tell us that when we get our reparations and tangibles, let's hypothetically say that's what the people in California are getting, that they're going to spend it on Cadillacs and Mercedes Benz. I got a question for you, Faizon Love. What have you been spending your money on that caused you to be locked into an $8 million net worth, and you've been in this industry for over 30 years? For 30 years exactly. Because it said his first major role was Baby's Kids, and that came out in 92. It's 2022. And my math is correct. That's 30 years. So why does your net worth look like this? Is it because you've been spending it on Cadillacs and Mercedes Benz? See, to my audience, the people that's listening to me right now, we have to call this out as we see it. Because as far as I'm concerned, Faizon Love just made himself a traitor by saying this nonsense. Not only because of it coming from someone who, as far as we know, identifies as Black and has been and has had Black support mainly for his entire career, but he's uttering the same talking points that Dub S does all the time. I just did a video talking about Tucker Carlson. We expect that coming from him. But it's doubly offensive when it comes from people who look like us. And speaking of us, this is where Jordan Peele was going for in that movie Us, when you think of the narrative. This is tether talk right here. This is tether babble. But it's very stereotypical, because it basically also puts this narrative that Black people are just frivolous and reckless with our money. They never talk to any of these other groups like that. As a matter of fact, I'm surprised Faizon Love didn't say anything about what they plan on doing in San Francisco for those in Hall T. If y'all remember, they said they just about to roll out the red carpet for them and give them $1,200 a month for the next 18 months. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, and I remember correctly, they're going to start that rollout this month in December. They probably already started it. So that means they get a free $1,200 every single month for 18 months. I didn't hear Faizon Love talk about that and say, oh, they're going to go spend it on this, that, and the third. But whenever it's something that could come towards black people, then everyone has a problem. That's why I keep telling people over and over again, they are scared to death of black people, foundational black Americans, of getting money and tangibles. They want us forever to be under. And as you can see, this guy is not PC. I keep telling people, you do not have to be white to be a white supremacist. What Faizon Love said in that article that I just read is damning proof of that.